Hello everyone, welcome to the Business English Podcast. I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about why, if you know these 10 English grammar rules, your English is amazing, can be such a game changer for your business communication?
Exactly. That title sounds so bold, right? In today's episode, we'll explore why knowing these 10 grammar rules can transform not just your language, but also your confidence in global business. It's truly important for anyone aiming to improve practical English.
Totally. You might wonder how these rules relate to real-world scenarios. Well, they can help you write clear emails, give smooth presentations, and negotiate deals more effectively. This podcast will highlight each rule and offer tips to apply them in your daily conversations.
No doubt about it. Here's how our podcast is structured. First, we'll give an overview of why this topic is crucial. Then we'll dive into the 10 grammar rules, share examples, and discuss practical tips. Share your thoughts in the comments because output truly fuels your progress.
Precisely. We want everyone to learn and grow together. Feel free to post questions, suggestions, or experiences. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Let's move on and discover why this topic is so essential for your English journey. Alright, let's outline what we'll cover in this segment. First, we'll talk about how grammar influences your credibility in business. Then we'll consider some modern trends in international communication. Finally, we'll dive into real examples showing the impact of mastering these 10 rules.
Indeed, with global teams and remote work on the rise, correct grammar can set you apart. You're spot on that it's about credibility. When clients or colleagues notice strong language skills, they trust you more. This trust can boost collaboration, contracts, and even leadership opportunities.
Absolutely. Let's think about a specific example. Say you're emailing a high-level contact about a new project. If you mix up tenses or punctuation, it might seem minor, but it can lower their confidence in your professionalism. Clear grammar equals clear professionalism, no doubt about it.
That's right. Another trend is the widespread use of instant messaging platforms. People often use abbreviations or informal phrases, which is fine in casual chats. But in business settings, mixing informal language with key stakeholders can create confusion or misunderstandings. Grammar acts as your safety net.
Exactly. Now let's talk about these 10 rules. First, subject-verb agreement. This rule ensures that your sentence structure sounds correct and logical. When your subject is singular, use a singular verb. That might seem basic, but it's often overlooked in quick business emails.
Couldn't agree more. Second, consistent tense usage. If you're describing past results, stick to the past tense. Jumping between tenses can confuse your reader. Keep your timeline clear. Third, pronoun clarity. Make sure pronouns refer accurately to the intended subject, especially when multiple names appear.
Precisely. Fourth, correct use of articles like a, an, and the. Small words can change the entire meaning of a sentence. Fifth, parallel structure. When listing tasks or responsibilities, use the same grammatical form. It shows professionalism and maintains clarity in your message.
Totally. Sixth, punctuation. Commas, colons, and semicolons can drastically affect meaning. Seventh, proper adjective and adverb placement. For instance, quickly review versus review quickly. Both can work, but consistency is key. Eighth, correct prepositions. Mixing them up can change the context of your sentence entirely.
Indeed. Ninth, correct word order for questions. In business presentations, you may pose questions to the audience, so clarity matters. Finally, the 10th rule, avoiding double negatives. Using two negatives can make a sentence confusing. Master these 10 points, and you'll see a huge difference.
You nailed it. These might sound like basics, but in day-to-day business we often overlook them. With global English usage constantly evolving, grammar rules give you a solid framework. Once you internalize these rules, your emails, reports, and speeches become more persuasive and clear.
Exactly. Let's also consider cultural nuances. Some international teams might have different expectations about language formality. Having a strong grasp of these 10 rules makes it easier to adapt. People see that you respect their time and attention by communicating precisely. It fosters better relationships.
Absolutely. For instance, many multinational companies have style guides. They want consistent formatting and grammar across all content. When you follow these guidelines, you not only uphold brand standards but also build a professional image for yourself. It's a win-win scenario for everyone involved.
That's exactly how I see it. So to summarize, these 10 grammar rules serve as your foundation. They help you avoid confusion, maintain professionalism, and boost your global credibility. Next, we'll explore deeper insights, share stories, and then offer an English lesson focusing on key vocabulary.
Indeed, stick around, because understanding these rules can truly elevate your communication. Let's move on and explore some real-life situations where these rules matter the most. We'll dive into the stories shortly, and after that, we'll break down new vocabulary for you.
Alright, let's break down some key terms from our discussion. First up, subject-verb agreement. It means the subject and verb in a sentence must match in number. For example, she runs every morning, not she run every morning. It's a foundational grammar rule.
Exactly. This rule is essential in formal writing. If you say, the data shows instead of the data show, you might sound more natural in business contexts. Even though data is technically plural, people often accept the singular version now, but consistency is what matters most.
Precisely. Next, parallel structure. This refers to using the same grammatical form within a list or series of phrases. An example, we need to plan effectively, communicate clearly, and execute swiftly. Each phrase follows the same pattern, making your writing cohesive and easier to read.
Absolutely. Parallel structure also helps in PowerPoint slides, emails, or proposals. If you write bullet points like conduct research, analyzing data, and present results, your audience might notice the inconsistency. Keep them all in the same form for a stronger, more polished impact.
Couldn't agree more. Another key term we mentioned was double negatives. That's when you use two negative words in one statement, which creates confusion. For instance, I don't have no time should be, I don't have any time. Avoid double negatives to maintain clarity.
Indeed, double negatives can sometimes appear in casual speech, but in business communication, they can sound unprofessional or ambiguous. Sticking to clear, direct language makes a better impression. Readers or listeners won't have to pause and guess what you're trying to say.
Precisely. Next, punctuation. We touched on how commas and semicolons can shift meaning. For example, let's eat people versus let's eat people. The placement of a comma changes the sentence completely. In business writing, correct punctuation reflects attention to detail and respect for your reader's time.
Totally. Misplaced punctuation can damage your credibility. Especially in a formal proposal or contract, people might wonder if you're careless with details. So whenever you draft an email or document, spare a moment to review punctuation. It pays off in clarity and professionalism.
Precisely. Finally, style guide. Many companies have an internal document specifying grammar rules, tone, and formatting. If you align your writing with the style guide, you'll keep brand messages consistent and maintain quality. It also helps new employees adapt quickly to corporate communication standards.
That's right. When everyone uses the same format, it reduces confusion and boosts efficiency. No doubt about it, style guides are a lifesaver in big organizations. Use them to ensure clarity, unity, and a professional image. All these terms together shape a more credible English presentation.
So let's talk about how to apply these grammar rules in everyday scenarios. One practical tip is to create a personal grammar checklist for your emails. Before sending, review points like subject-verb agreement, punctuation, and clarity. This helps prevent small errors that can affect your credibility.
Exactly. Another approach is to use tools like grammar checking software. However, don't rely on it completely. These programs can miss context-specific nuances or idiomatic expressions. Use them as a guide, not a final authority. Reviewing with your own understanding will sharpen your instincts over time.
Absolutely. A second tip is to read more business materials like annual reports, professional blogs, or reputable newspapers. Observing how experienced writers use grammar can reinforce your skills. Whenever you encounter a well-structured sentence, ask yourself why it works and try to replicate that style.
Precisely. Also, consider joining online forums or LinkedIn groups about your industry. People often share articles or posts there. By reading and interacting, you'll see real-world examples of business English in action. You'll also learn how language norms differ across various international markets.
That's right. Another tip is setting up a personal vocabulary journal. Jot down new words or phrases you see in emails or meetings. Then, practice writing sentences with those terms. This helps you internalize grammar rules naturally because you're practicing them in meaningful contexts.
Indeed, you could also record yourself speaking, like if you have a practice presentation, record it on your phone, then check for consistent tense use or correct pronoun references. It's basically an audit of your spoken grammar, and it can uncover common habits worth improving.
Absolutely. With many people now working remotely, video calls are the new meeting room. Ensuring your grammar is solid when speaking helps you sound confident in front of clients or bosses. Also, keep in mind cultural respect. Some places value more formal language than others.
Totally. And if you're worried about sounding too formal, you can adjust based on the setting. For instance, an internal team chat might allow more relaxed grammar, whereas client-facing emails should be impeccable. Knowing the right level of formality is part of mastering business English.
Exactly. Another strategy is to revisit grammar basics periodically. Sometimes we forget simple rules if we don't use them often. Set aside a few minutes each week to review a grammar point. This ongoing maintenance can keep your writing and speech polished throughout your career.
Precisely. Let's consider technology trends too. These days, companies communicate a lot through project management tools like Slack, Trello, or Asana. Even short messages can reflect your grasp of grammar. If you consistently write well, your teammates will see you as reliable and competent.
No doubt about it. Another hot trend is video conferencing for webinars and conferences. Whenever you present or answer questions, clear grammar keeps your message coherent. If potential clients join your session, they'll gauge your expertise partly by how well you articulate ideas.
Exactly. In virtual settings, slides might be the first impression, so ensure that text on them follows the same grammar rules. Typos or mismatched sentences stand out. And if you collaborate with international colleagues, clarity is vital. They shouldn't have to guess your intentions.
Indeed. Let's also touch on personal branding. Whether it's a LinkedIn post or a professional blog, consistent grammar shows you value precision. Over time, that consistency builds a reputation for quality. People start expecting thoughtful, polished insights from you, which can open doors in your career.
Totally. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Colleagues, friends, or even professional editors can catch mistakes you might overlook. In big projects, peer review can be invaluable. The more eyes on your content, the better chance you have of delivering a flawless final product.
Couldn't agree more. Ultimately, practicing these tips daily will strengthen your command of grammar and boost your professional image. Embrace these habits and watch your communication improve. Next, we'll explore some advanced vocabulary and idioms that popped up in our conversation, so stay tuned. Time for English Lesson 2, focusing on some terms we mentioned. First, grammar checklist. This refers to a simple list of essential grammar points you review before finalizing a document or email. It could include items like punctuation, subject-verb agreement, and clarity of pronouns.
Exactly. A grammar checklist helps prevent small mistakes that might slip through. You can create one in a spreadsheet or note-taking app. By quickly scanning this list, you ensure consistency and catch errors before they reach important stakeholders, preserving your professional image.
Precisely. Next, peer review. This is when a colleague or friend checks your work for grammar, clarity, and style issues. Peer reviews offer fresh eyes. Especially if you've been working on a document for a long time, they can highlight issues you might have overlooked.
Absolutely. Peer review isn't just for formal writing. You can ask someone to review your important emails or presentations too. It helps you see if your message is straightforward, and they might catch grammar slips you missed. This kind of feedback loop really sharpens your skills.
Indeed. Next up is personal branding. This term means how you present yourself in a professional context. Your grammar, tone, and style all shape your personal brand. If your emails and posts are consistently polished, people will associate you with reliability and quality.
That's right. Personal branding extends to your social media profiles, articles you write, or even your comments on industry forums. Good grammar builds trust. People see you as someone who cares about detail, which often implies you're reliable in other areas too.
Exactly. Another phrase is video conferencing. This refers to virtual meetings using platforms like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Strong grammar in these meetings projects confidence. Even short introductions or quick updates can benefit from clarity. This is especially important when working with international clients or partners.
Totally. When you're presenting your project, you want to sound credible and organized. Avoid random tense shifts or unclear pronouns. Remember, people might record these sessions so you'll leave a lasting impression. Practice your introductions and key points to ensure fluent, grammatically correct statements.
Precisely. Lastly, flawless final product means a document or presentation without errors. It shows you took the time to check details. If you deliver flawless work regularly, it bolsters your reputation. This phrase emphasizes the goal of perfection, though it's understood that small errors can happen.
Indeed, but aiming for a flawless final product pushes you to review, revise, and improve. That mindset can separate your work from the average. Keep these terms in mind, and you'll be well on your way to more professional and effective English communication.
So today we covered, if you know these 10 English grammar rules, your English is amazing. We discussed practical tips like using a grammar checklist. Plus, we explored how peer review and personal branding support your professional image. We also learned specific vocabulary to boost clarity.
Exactly. In our English lessons, we talked about subject-verb agreement, parallel structure, punctuation, double negatives, style guides, grammar checklists, peer review, personal branding, video conferencing, and aiming for a flawless final product. Each element contributes to stronger, more persuasive business English.
Absolutely. All these tips and lessons aim to help you build credibility and connect better with global audiences. Grammar might seem small, but it can have a big impact on trust. A little extra attention goes a long way in forging successful business relationships.
Precisely, we hope you find this podcast valuable and that you'll apply these insights in your daily work. If you have any thoughts or experiences to share, drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and learn together. Thanks for tuning in today.
Couldn't agree more. Keep practicing, stay curious, and never stop refining your skills. We wish you all the best on your English journey. Until next time on the Business English Podcast, keep learning and growing. Take care, everyone.